Okay, so my first turtle species I have here is a baby Chinese softshell turtles. So they're one of the Asian species of softshells that doesn't get as large as the Americans, like the spiny and the Florida. However, they do have the attitude. As you can see, I have to distract him quite a bit with my finger, otherwise he will turn around and bite me. They have incredibly long necks, as you can see, and they are very cool turtles. Like I said, these are only little babies, and I've had them for a little over a year now, and turtles are one of those animals that grow quite slowly, but they are solely a carnivore. In the wild, they are a vulnerable species, I believe, and the population is going down in the native range, mainly because people eat them. There has been sightings of these guys being invasive in places like the Philippines because they are shipped around the whole of Asia to be eaten, and obviously some of those get out into the waterways and will do quite well in the tropical climates. They can withstand cooler temperatures. So here in the UK, if you do properly acclimate full-grown adults, they supposedly can hibernate and stay outside all year round. I wouldn't personally risk it with this species because it is a soft shell, so they are a little bit more sensitive than other species. However, if I ever get a greenhouse in the future, this would be one of the species I would keep in that for most of the year. So there you go, this is the Chinese softshell turtle. Currently I have two of them, and they're separate at the moment. I did originally keep them together, and then this one started growing a little bit larger than the other one, so I had to separate them, obviously because this one was a bit of a bully. So they're currently in some Exoterra glass enclosures, but eventually they'll be going into a much larger pre-built pond that will contain, well, hopefully both of them. Otherwise, I'll separate them into with some fencing of some kind. But really, I'll have two water sources so they can escape each other, and it should hopefully look quite good because they do get a decent size. It's just they're babies at the moment, and very mean. So this is a Mississippi map turtle. This is a slightly smaller growing species, which is like a very attractive looking turtle. I mean, you can see all the yellow lines on its body, and then on the plastron when it's younger it has the same sort of pattern. That fades over time as it gets bigger. I believe this one's a male, looking at the claws and the size it's gotten so far. But if it starts to keep getting larger, then it will probably turn out to be a female. I've had this turtle for the longest out the group right now, and it's a very, very cool turtle. Very active, very personable, and it is another species that should be able to be kept outside all year round, which hopefully in the future may become a possibility for this species for me. It's just making sure that predators won't be able to get hold of something this big, because it is that sort of size where foxes and different things like that can fit in their mouth and walk away with. So, but yeah, this turtle has got a little bit of a mark that's healing over time. That's due to a pleco that was in there. I was treating it for the longest time, thinking it was shell rot, thinking why is this not healing, and then I just clocked on that it was actually the pleco doing it. So I've whipped that one out, and yeah, now it's healing perfectly. So that was a fault on me, but you live and you learn and you move on, and it's doing absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so this is the next turtle. This one here is what I believe to be a Cooter turtle. Very, very similar to things like the Trachemi scripta family. However, it doesn't have the same markings of the face. Oops, sorry, buddy. And its shell is more flatter, I found. Plastron is a little bit different as well. This is a female. and it's a very, very active turtle, very friendly. It'll come up to food, you know, anything like that, and it likes to kick, which is why I'm holding it like this, because as you can see, it kicks quite a bit. This is one of the ones that currently is in with a lot of the other turtles in a preformed pond in a shed that's heated. However, it will be moving outside fairly shortly when it warms up, and hopefully will remain out there for the rest of the year. Now this one was a rehome. Someone had this and another turtle that I'll show you in a minute in a fish tank, and it just grew out, and they weren't in a position to move it to a larger area, so they put it up to be rehomed. This turtle will stay with me for the rest of its life, hopefully in an outside accommodation that's secure for him, and secure so nothing can get in or out, and it will be a very cool place for him to, or for her to go. So the next turtle is a very similar looking species. This is a yellow-bellied slider, and is a very, 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 very good looking one at that. I mean, the shell is practically, you know, perfect. It had good weight on her, and it's also a female, and you can tell it's a yellow-bellied just by the plastron there. This one will also be outside as well. This was a rehome, and I actually have another yellow-bellied that I'll show you after this turtle that I got as well. So I have a couple of them just so they're not living on their own as well. It's a species that I'd love to keep. I've always loved you know, how big and robust these turtles are, and how they can be kept in our UK climates. Growing up, everyone around me had them, and obviously did the bad thing of releasing them into the wild and doing, you know, terrible things to the environment, and it just isn't good for the animals or the ecosystem. However, these ones were not released into the wild. I took them in, and they're doing fantastic right now. Hopefully in the future I do come across a reddish slider. It's just you can't buy them anymore, and you can't really get hold of them, so the only way is to sort of grandfather them in, or I guess find them in the wild and grab them and pull them into captivity, which is, in a way, sounds kind of cruel, but in another sense it is the best thing to do for the animal, because they shouldn't be out there, and if anyone else was to catch them, chances are they would euthanize the animal. So that's not really what I want. It's not their fault they're out there. They can't reproduce in the wild. It's just they live for so long and they eat so much that they do become quite devastating. Okay, so here's the next one. This is also a yellow-bellied slider. This one has a little bit more of a story to her. This is the first yellow-bellied slider I got, that I adopted basically. This one was brought to me by my reptile vet, who doesn't live near me. Someone brought it into the surgery, said they found it in a sort of the sort of overflow areas on farmland, like cow pastures and different things like that. So then I just told the vet that I'll quite happily take it on and look after it for the rest of its days. I have the area and the space to do that, and the facility, so they were perfectly fine with that. And that's how I ended up with this turtle, which pushed me to getting another one, or finding another one, just so it's not on its own for the rest of its life, which is fine. They're all females, they shouldn't really reproduce or have the ability to reproduce. What probably happened was years and years and years ago, say 20 years or so, this turtle was kept in just a little glass box, not kept properly. It's grown weirdly, its shell went a bit deformed. As you can see, it's a little bit thicker than a normal one should be, and a bit bumpy. And what happened was they probably released it. It's been out in the wild for a long time, surviving, eating baby ducks, different plant matter, anything it could find. And its shell sort of healed up over time, and has been doing quite well. So it's probably been out there for a long time, and I do not know the age of this turtle. It could be very, very old, 40 years plus easily. So yeah, there's her. She's going to be spending outside as well. Good thing about this turtle is I'm not really worried about acclimating her too much, because she was outside for a long time. So yeah, so that's her. Okay, so next up we have one of my two marginated tortoises. These are a member of the Testudo family. This one is a male. He does like to stick out his hemipenes every once in a while, but there's his big tail. So their care is practically identical to other Testudo family members, such as the Hermans, the Greeks, Sperthide, different things like that. Very, very easy tortoise to look after. It's just this one is the largest out of the Testudo line, so they get, you know, almost redfoot size or around redfoot size. They get nice sort of spurs on their back, which is why they're called marginated tortoises. They get these marginal scoots that protrude out quite a way. And if you look after them properly, they should look like this big, attractive looking tortoise. There are some ones out there that are a bit malformed and don't look that great, and I'm trying to avoid that. The shell's a little bit pyramided, but not horrendously. But yeah, it is a very, very good tortoise. I have got two. The other one, I believe, is a female, because this one always goes after it, and it's quite irritating, really. Eventually, I want to find another female that's definitely a female. I don't want to buy another baby and try and grow it up hoping it's a female, because then I could end up with two males, and then I'll have a tortoise that I need to find another home for. So when these guys get a little bit bigger and a female comes across, I'll be grabbing that one up, so I have a 1.2 ratio, which is ideal for these guys. But this one is very, very friendly. It will also hopefully be going outside at some point. In the summer it does go outside with the other one and spend the majority of the summer in an outside pen in the daytime and comes in at night. However, hopefully this year I can build something, or I have built something that will be more of a permanent structure for it outside, and then hibernating it. However, it might be still a little bit too small to hibernate them, and I might feel a bit more safer bringing it in over winter again for one more year. But yeah, there's Testudo marginata, the marginated tortoise, a very, very pretty herbivorous tortoise found throughout the Mediterranean. Alright, so the next turtle we have here is a musk turtle. I do have two musks. Now, these were rehomes as well. They're a species that's very, very common in the pet trade, and for a good reason. They're a fantastic turtle species. They stay small. I mean, this is practically full grown for a female. There are some that do get a little bit bigger, and some subspecies that do get larger as well. But yeah, this is a common musk, a stink pot turtle, and it's a fantastic turtle species. Stays small, can be kept in a glass tank, very personable, but can't go with fish. They will eat fish. Yeah, so this one was kept in a tank with another female. It's quite common for these species to be bought for kids. You know, as tiny little babies. However, they do get, you know, this sort of size, and they do live a very, very long time. I mean, this is probably only a couple years old, you know, maybe 4 or 5 at a push, but you know, they can live well over 30 easily. So it's a turtle that you have to commit to. I mean, like most turtles, or most reptiles really, and people don't realise that. You know, they get it for their kids. The kids get bored, and then they're stuck cleaning turtle poop out of a tank that they don't really want in their house. You see them a lot on Gumtree, Pre-Loved, all these internet sites, people trying to sell these, rehome these, and I was just happened to be in the situation where someone came in, said they really want to get rid of turtles. You know, they found me somehow, and I just agreed to take them on. They brought them in, and I took them. These are really, really fantastic turtles. They are pretty much like mini snapping turtles, so you don't want to put them in with other fish. Any turtles around the same size or smaller than them. They do get along fine with some other turtles that are larger, but I'd still keep a very close eye on them. Yeah, they're very cool species. Okay, so the final turtle species that I keep is this one here. This is the fly river turtle, and to be honest, it's possibly my prized turtle species I have, or any animal species I have. They're just so hard to come by in the UK, and I was very prepared to go to Europe to get one. Luckily I didn't, and I was there at the right time, and I managed to get hold of one legally. This is one of only a few that was legally imported into the UK since, I believe, 2006, or it could have even been earlier than that. When it came to me, it was not in good shape. I mean, it had horrible shell lesions, it was not doing good, had an internal bacterial infection, and it needed a couple vet trips, and I had to do some, quite a few injections. However, right now, it's put on so much weight, and it's growing very quickly. It's very active, and even though it's just sitting here in my hand, looking all like flopped out. That's only because he's grumpy because I just pulled him out, or her I should say. I'm not entirely sure on which sex it is at the moment. But yeah, this is a fly river turtle, also known as the pig-nosed turtle, as you can see by its little piggy nose. And it will get much larger than this. This is only a baby, and it's a very, very cool turtle. The only freshwater turtle to have flippers, and it is listed as an endangered species on the ICUN red list. So very, very cool species, very, very hard to come by species, and hopefully in the future, when it gets larger, I will be able to breed this species in the future. I'm going to pop him back now because he's getting a bit restless. Okay, so that is my turtles and tortoises that I keep. Hope you did enjoy, hope you did find this a bit more interesting. Something to watch on your isolation and quarantine. I hope I managed to make some kind of video out of this, because I do a lot of videos recently and you haven't seen any, and the reason for that is because I record the whole thing and I feel like I can't really edit it to the point where it's usable. So yeah, it might not even make it, but obviously if you've seen this, it made it on there. Hopefully you understand everything, because I might have cut out chunks and did different things and moved things around. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions about any of the animals, if you have any of the animals and you want some other opinions on how I found with them, yeah, drop me a question down below. And yeah, I'll try and do some more videos in the future. It's just right now it's quarantine and I'm trying to get my bearings on what's going on and everything. But yeah, okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.